And welcome to Codebase Alpha. A bit late today, I'm very sorry about this. I've been trapped in a meeting for most of the afternoon and only just kind of got free of that. So I realise that people who might have tuned in at the usual time, the 4 o'clock time, will probably have gone away by now. But I have tweeted out, so if you are around, please come and join me. So the plan for today was to start putting some natural language processing into our bot using LUIS. So we'll get as far as we can in the time remaining, and probably have a makeup stream tomorrow as well, just to kind of get over what what I had planned for this slot. So I'm going to kind of speed on and get what we can get done. So let's go over to the code. So we've got Alf running there. Let's deal with Alf first. So let's switch him off. There we go. He's switched off. There was a bit of a kind of an issue yesterday with Alf, so he's sorted now. So here we are in our one of our dialogues. Let's go have a look at the startup class. So the kind of aim for today was going to be to get some natural language processing into the bot. The first thing I was going to do was to actually put in a few more. Cody Beard, welcome to the stream. Sorry about the late start. So the idea of today was going to be to put the natural language processing in, but to start off by putting in the Who is live now kind of code. But I'm going to put that off, the Who is live now stuff, and we'll just try and concentrate on getting some natural language processing into the system. So what I did off stream is that I went and signed up for a LUIS account, and I put the details of that account into my app settings.json, which are these keys here. So we get a private key, we get an app ID, and we get an endpoint. And obviously the sensitive information there is hidden away in my user secrets. And what we need to do is to actually bring LUIS into our application. Now, if we go over to the documentation, I have a link here which I can drop into chat. So this is a blog post of someone who's done this in version 4 of the bot framework, which we're using, and basically it takes you through the steps of creating your LUIS application, so you can follow along and create your own if you need to. And if you download this bot and start playing with it, you'll need to do this for yourself and put your information in. So we come to updating the bot code. So let's look at what they do here. So there's actually a bot builder AI LUIS package we need to bring into our app. So let's do that now. So we're going to manage our NuGet packages, and we're going to go and find Microsoft.bot builder AI, which is that one there, and there should be a LUIS one, which is 433. So we want kind of 440. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to try and put that in directly into the CS_proj file. So we can edit that, and here's the Q&A version. Let's copy that reference and just drop LUIS into there. So I think it was, yes, in sentence case. So LUIS, and let's see if we can build and bring that in. So Cody Beard, welcome to the stream. Thank you for popping in this afternoon. I don't know who else is in chat, but yeah, it's been one of those days where everything happened in the afternoon, and we were dragged into meetings, and they just went on. And the problem when you're in a remote meeting, it can get very confusing because lots of people start talking at the same time, and you're trying to butt in and talk. They just take a long time. Yeah, we're playing with LUIS. Yeah, so you wrote a bot with it in the previous version. Yeah, okay. So I don't know how far we're going to get with playing with LUIS, but we'll give it a go. Okay, so that's, so now we've got Lewis into our the Lewis package into our project. We now need to go over to our startup file and actually do some work in here. So we've got something very similar in here for Q&A Maker, which is what we're using for our kind of personality for our bot. We've got the witty personality at the moment. Let's go back into our blog post. So they're suggesting we do this lot here. So let's just grab that lot and pop that into our code as well. We need to do a bit of editing, but we'll do that. So we're going to add a singleton again. This is adding Lewis, and we need to bring Lewis applications. Oh dear, I've got a new keyboard, which is my excuse really. So it's interesting. So there we go. No, let's see if we can just drop using a using statement in manually, shall we? And we want Lewis in there. So it's going to be a bit upsetting if we can't do this. So did we manage to build it with Lewis in? That's the question I'm asking myself now. We got a yeah, it's not managed to find that. Okay, well let's see if we can bring it in at 4.43. Otherwise we might have to upgrade everything. In fact, we might well do that stage. So this is the stage where you wish me luck. So we're going to go in and edit all our bot builders up to 4.43. And we just hope that that actually all works. So this is a bit of a bold thing. I wasn't so bold as to upgrade to the latest version of Visual Studio, because 16.10 is out, I notice. But we're going to be brave enough to try and move this to the very, very latest build of bot framework. We'll try a rebuild on that and see what happens. So CodeDB ended up canning the project for the time being, waiting for Microsoft to fix the offline story. Okay, so it's a good point. I'm not sure what the offline story is. So this is now complaining about all of these other things. So did it restore or not? Clean the solution, rebuild. So it seems to have built. There we are, it's built now. Just clean is what we needed to do. Okay, so now we should have Lewis available to us, which we do. So all this should be nice and happy down here now. And we need to put in our various keys. So we're going to grab something code similar to this. Let's just grab that in there. That's that, and oops, and that. And I've already forgotten what I set the keys to be, so let's go over here. So we've got Lewis key. Pop that into the application endpoint key, which is that one there. And then we've got application ID. Where am I? Oh, it's over here. Application ID. Get that over. And finally the actual endpoint itself, which is the Lewis endpoint. Okay, save that away. So this should now enable us to inject Lewis into our chatbot. Now there are some options here which we're probably going to have to investigate, because we only want to look at certain thresholds. Fuel Stable, welcome to the stream. Good to see you again. Sophia, thank you for the follow. That's really fantastic. So thank you very much for the follow. Really do appreciate that. So let's get into the working mood with a bit of music actually. So I'm just going to start up some Relax Daily, because after my meeting I think I need that. If that music is too loud, let me know. So thank you for that follow, Zophiel. We're well on our way now towards our 200 goal, and that will be an achievement in Twitch as well for me. So that'll be good to hit that goal, and maybe we'll do something to celebrate hitting that goal. Okie doke. So we should now be able to inject Lewis into the chatbot. So let's go over to the chatbot chatbox bot class, and we'll create a new private property. We'll call it Lewis. Actually, I'm not quite sure what we should call it. Let's go and look at our documentation again. It's Lewis Recognizer. So we're just going to grab that bit of code there and just pop that in there. And we should be able to then bring in Lewis. There we go. And then in here we've got Lewis Recognizer. Recognizer Lewis. We can simply set to Recognizer equals Lewis in there. So we now have that Recognizer. There we go. Okay. Looks fine. Okay, so I'm kind of still in a bit in F# mode actually. If you didn't catch the stream on Monday night, we had a fantastic stream with FuelSnable where we delved into F# and built a parser, and that was kind of quite an exciting thing to be involved in, to see a parser being built like that. It was a lot of fun. So it's been thinking a lot about functional kind of things throughout the day. Actually rewatched that stream on the video. Okay. So what else do we need to do? Let's have a look back here. So, so they set the Lewis variable up, and then what they're saying here is in our on turn async, they want to. He's looking at a 95% match, and what we've done at the moment, if I go over to Lewis, so Lewis.ai is where that lives, and hopefully we'll log in. Now we're going to sign in bulk of it. We should sign in automatically. I'm sorry about it being white. I'm looking forward to the day when dark mode is available everywhere, but so it's very bright, isn't it? So here's our Codebase Alpha application we've set up, and in here we've got in our build section we've already set up a utilities help. So this is the intent, utilities.help, and basically currently we're looking at simply providing some help text, and we're going to extend this obviously, but we'll get it working with help first. So these are all the kind of phrases someone could enter into our bot. There's only a kind of a handful of them. Okay, so let's have a look. We need to go back over to our blog post. So what they're doing is checking for Lewis results every time any text comes in. And I'm not 100% sure that's what we want to do. We'll see. But what we'll do for now, I think what we'll do is grab this code and see where it actually fits into our model. Because we've got, if you remember, cast your mind back to last time we did this, we've got a menu system. And really, we only want to kind of resort to Lewis, or to our personality, bot personality, when they don't type in 1, 2, 3, or 4, or actually select from the menu system. So I'm thinking this is the place to put it. But obviously we're going to start making this switch statement really unwieldy. For the moment, that's fine. Let's just pop that code that we just pulled out of there into here. So if we if the user doesn't enter something we know about, 1, 2, 3 or 4, or select from our menus, then we're going to say, okay, we need to do a bit more work. We need to start doing our natural language recognition work here. So this is where that's happening. So basically what the code is saying is that they're going to send off the turn context to Lewis, and it's going to come back with a top scoring intent. So we're back into the kind of the terminology that we came across when building the Alexa skill. This concept of an intent, which is really what did the user intend by their vocalization, or here in this case, as we're using text, by what they typed. What was their intent when they typed that? So we're trying to divine what that is. Well, it's going to come back with whatever it thinks is the best one, and we're going to say we want it to be, a pretty confident match. Okay. So what we don't want to do is so it's going to get a null, empty, a string empty. Let's get rid of this. I don't like that. String.empty in there, please. But we don't care about that, because we can handle string. If the string is empty, we can handle it down here in our kind of personality bot, which mops up all of the strange answers if it can. So if it can figure out that you're asking it, how old are you or something, which this is going to obviously fail on our utilities help intent, then it's going to handle that. If it can't, it'll just say please select a menu. So it's going to be a bit terse about saying, I don't understand what you're saying. So we don't actually need to detect that. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if the intent score is greater than 0.95, but we may adjust that down depending on how it reacts. We're going to do this embedded switch statement. You can see here, which is why it's getting a bit nasty. We need to sort it out by breaking this into its own method. We've got a switch within a switch within a switch at the moment, but we'll take care of that once we've got things working. What we're going to do is we're going to remove case none. So what do we want to do exactly? Okay, we remove case none. In here, we're going to, if we hit the utilities help, we're going to say we're going to get variable intent matched. Is this false? So we may change how this works, but let's not at the moment. We're going to say that is true, and default. So it tried to match something, but it matched something we didn't expect. We'll keep that in there and just print out some information for debugging purposes. And here we'll say if oops, funny thing with that extra bracket that gets created there. If not intent matched, then we're going to kind of launch into our personality bot and see if we can find any kind of witty answer to come back with to the user. And if we can, then we do. Otherwise, we just kind of say, just select the menu option, please. Okay, so we've got that. We've got here's some help. Okay, so we're going to run this up now and see what happens. Let's just start up our bot framework emulator. So that's ready in the background. We're going to run our bots. Surly Dev, did I get a DD East Midlands ticket today? Unfortunately, I didn't. So I forgot about it till about 1 o'clock, and then got dragged into a meeting. So I haven't even been and checked if there's any tickets available for that. I imagine it's gone, hasn't it? Because you said they would go like hotcakes. So no, unfortunately not. But you never know, some might appear on the market. So if you do hear of any, let me know. Yeah, I mean, work gets in the way of a lot of stuff you want to do, doesn't it? Unfortunately, it's kind of a bit essential because it pays the bills. Okay, so here we are at our bot. We've got our menu options. If we type "I need some help" in here, hopefully we'll pick up. So Lewis has kind of recognised that, and it's printed some help. And then it says please set to menu option, blah blah blah. So actually we've got it working. So you always book a calendar event to stop meeting requests in situations like that. That's a really good idea. Unfortunately, this wasn't actually a planned meeting. It was something that you're in this meeting and it's basically all afternoon and it goes on well past when you normally come out of meetings, and that was kind of the end of it. And it was one of those meetings which was a bit chaotic, and considering we're in a kind of finalising, signing off a lower level design document, it was inventing new requirements and changing everything, so it was pretty chaotic, and it's just generated more work for us, so yeah, that's really good. So we got the basics of that working, but it's not very exciting really to match help, and we do need to kind of create a help system, which we haven't got at the moment. Are they available? They're still available. I won't go and get one now, but we'll after the stream, because I don't want to. Well, I don't want to. Actually, maybe we could go and get one. Shall we go and get one? Let's have a look. So, so this is DDD East Midlands, Saturday 26th of October in Nottingham. I register. I want one. Check out. Is it going to let me check out? Please complete registration. My name. Okay, I'll just take this off screen while I complete the rest of the details, even though everyone can find my details online. Do apologise for this, but Silly Dev has got a good point. If there are things available, we should go and get them, I guess. Just putting my email address in again. There's admission. Yep. It's my job title, my company, none, no, complete registration, processing my order. I've been saved to my ticket, so I've got a ticket, so I can actually just come back over here now. So sorry about that. So they've done it. Got it. we're all signed up. It's Eventbrite, was it? Well, actually, we use Eventbrite at work. I've never really been onto the Eventbrite site, so that's it. So yeah, hopefully see you there. So we'll have to try and find some way. I'll wear a red rose or something. I don't know, so we can recognise each other. Okay. So we got utilities help as our intent. So what we're going to do, we're going to create a new intent, and we're going to do this new intent in kind of two parts, because intents also come with these things called entities, and entities are they're exactly the same concept as a slot in Alexa, so they are a kind of variable piece of information. So you're going to say something like you're going to type in when is Codebase Alpha streaming next, and the entity we want to be assigned to the Codebase Alpha, or Codebase Alpha to populate that entity. But first we're going to do is to try and create the basic intent without actually getting the streamer's name in there. So this is going to be when next intent. I hope that doesn't get too confusing, but there we go. So a sample utterance when So what can we say? Maybe we're going to have the entities in here as well. When is my so what's the best thing to say? Let's see what we've got over in entities. So we haven't created an entity. Let's create a new entity. It's going to be a streamer. And what kind of entity is it? It's going to be a simple entity. Okay, fair enough. Simple entity. Labeled utterances. So let's go back into intents. I hadn't really intended to get this far, but let's see. When is streaming next? I wonder how we put an intent. So in Alexa we kind of put brackets around it, but I don't see how to put a an entity in there. So let's go and search for that. Let's get rid of that. So Lewis intents entities. Recognize intents and entities with Lewis. How to? Okay, let's try the official Microsoft documentation. So we've done all that. Creating intents. So these are the built-in intents by the look of it. So there's an awful lot of code here. It's the bot. So it doesn't tell me about intents, about entities. So let's try this one. And that's unfortunately videos, which we don't want. Quick start up. We start with list entities. So that's created a new app, added an intent, created an entity, oh, they've typed in names. That's not fantastic, is it? It's not so good. So that they want us to provide maybe there's just examples. This is square brackets, look. I would not number cheeseburgers, and they set that as a food item. Search for entity cheeseburger. So values. I wonder if we can get it just to pass whatever we type. Katsuken, welcome to the stream. We're kind of in the middle of trying to design an intent here. So this looks like this could be a streamer there, but that's not actually inserted a I wonder. So if we edit that, labeled entities, none, example utterance. Why can't I edit it? We created that. I'm a bit lost what we're doing here now. Let's go back to here. We want to go in there. Oh, it's not saved it. That's why. So when is streaming next? So can we get away with just doing that? just text at this stage. So this is already not quite as intuitive to use as it was when we were using So Katsuki, you started yesterday with a new bot with the Teams, but you're not using Lewis. So have you got any insight into how to use Lewis? Because I've just come to this fairly cold. Looking at this, it seems to indicate that you can simply so providing utterances. Add item. It says sample utterance. I would like 2 cheeseburgers. Automatically choose recognize number. However, we need to tag our food item. Selecting cheeseburger and tag it as an enter a food name. Enter food name. So how they're doing that? Doesn't seem to be quite like that, does it? So I thought it was just square brackets, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Not recognising that as an entity, which I've got my streamer entity here. Oh, okay, labelled utterances. I wonder if that's what we need to do in here. I think I'm suffering from being trying to be a bit too adventurous here. And it's not saving anything, is it? How does the pattern? So let's go back over. I do apologise for thrashing around, but so let's go back. So how do I remove pre-built entities? We don't want a pre-built entity. So we've created an intent, which is they created add item. Instead, find entities for the restaurant application. So we've been here and created an entity, a simple entity. Add pre-built domain entity. We don't want to do that. So those are things like numbers and all that. We don't particularly want that. And they've gone to add values. Click recommend to get suggestions. They've created a food name. So when we go to our entity, we've created streamer. No roles created. Role name. I'm a bit confused about what we do next. And why doesn't it save this? Let's try something. So we've got, let's just put a phrase in, train it. Is it going to remember? It says few labels. Yeah, okay. Confused. I thought this was going to be very similar to creating the intents within Alexa, but it doesn't appear to be. So, folks, so they want to have. We need to put utterance to train our natural language model. Utterances are simple phrases using my say or type. Example, I would like 2 cheeseburgers. It says automatically 2 is recognised number. However, we need to tag our food item entity. Selecting the cheeseburger, we can tag it as a food name. When is let's edit this. How do we edit it? There we go. When is Codebase Alpha streaming next? Now how do we tag this? When we did this as slots, what we would do, I don't know what a role is. When we did this in Alexa with slots, we just kind of set some examples in here, but this seems to be not wanting to do anything. Review endpoint utterances, batch test, add phrase list and patterns, test, train and publish. Design my schema. And what's this here? Example utterances. Phrase list. I haven't created any, but how do I create one? Create a new phrase list. Create a new entity. We've created an entity called streamer. It's simple. Okay. What do I do? Get started. Not helping, is it? Okay. Let's delete the entity. Let's go to our intent. Why can't I just? Oh, there we are. I've ticked that. Delete that. So, pre-built entities. Pre-built domain intents. There's calendars. Find calendar who. I don't think that's what we want. Wow, this isn't what I expected to find, to be honest. I thought this would be a lot easier. So so there's lots of utilities for cancelling and starting over and all that. So I want to create a new intent. I want to call it when next. We'll call it just call it when next. Enter an example of what user might say. When is Codebase Alpha streaming next? What I don't want to have to do is to type in all of the possible values of that, do I? So there's what I've typed in, and I want to mark that as being an entity. So if it just loses it. Labeled entities, none. Create a new entity. Add a pre-built entity, add a pre-built domain entity. That's calendar items. Contact name. just added contact name, didn't I? Yes, this is all very interesting. I think we're gonna suffer here. Oh, the contact name suddenly appeared here. Okay, so in here. So write an urgent. So this is not the kind of thing I want, is it? But interestingly, it has highlighted this here. So let's delete that. Create a new entity. It's going to be streamer. Streamer name. Okay, go into there. We want to create some utterances. So how do I create labeled utterance? Oh, we need some more help, don't we? So when they created entities, they added pre-built entities, and they're our custom entity. So when they added a custom entity, they added create new entity, simple food name, pre-built entity added, revising our custom entity. So as mentioned at the beginning of the article, list entity and define related words and synonyms for particular entities you want a resolution for. So maybe that's what we want. Related words and synonyms of specific entities you want a resolution for. Restaurants provide menus. For samples and train their Lewis model, recognize intents any number of ways a user may want to trigger it. Various synonyms for each value can be different ways the user may refer to it. Common typos, blah blah blah. Yeah, don't like that. Don't like that. So let's backtrack on that. It's a bit of a shame that we can't have it just populate entities with slots, isn't it? So if anyone's got any experience in that, Link Slumps, welcome. We're kind of struggling a bit here at the moment. So this is one of the problems I do find sometimes with this kind of application, is that it's simply not obvious what you do next. So let's try this one then. Let's back up a bit. Let's get rid of when next. And let's create a new intent, which is set time zone. So let's go for that, because there's no variable information in that. So in set times, I want to set my time zone, and then we want to have another one, which would be, I don't understand why I can't create another one. There's something off screen, is there? Try and train that model. But I want to type in a whole bunch of utterances. So we're training the model now. So we'll just, so it says few labels, time zone. Going to go into alert mode, Link, so that's fine. Thank you for joining us. You're trying to finish on your CSS course. Well, I wish you luck with that one. Few labels, labeled entities, none. So if we go into here, then we get tick boxes and we can edit them. If we go into our intent at time zone and go into here, there's no checkbox. Okay. I'm confused, viewers. I'm confused. So the detailed view is exactly the same as the simple view. Review end time point. No, it's just the model. And it's lost that information. So how do I set no items created? If anyone has anyone used Lewis at all that's viewing? I know we haven't got many people in chat, but has someone ever had a go at this? Because am I using the wrong browser? Should we use Chrome and see if it has any better experience in Chrome? Which would be quite ironic, really, wouldn't it? So here we are. Here's our app. We want to build. Got set time zone. It doesn't seem any different, does it? Set time zone. How do I save it? And then we did that, and it's gonna say I haven't got any utterances. Well, I don't really know what to say at this point. Go to my intents. Well, that's interesting. None has got. Where did all that come from? What is Maria's mobile number? I want to go into here and I want to add my own. None of these work. Search and filter. We've kind of got Lewis in there, and it does work against the pre-built intent. But okay, we're going to have to go into. This isn't good enough. This one here. Let's have a look. First steps with Lewis. Let's have a look at that. What is Lewis? Creating your first Lewis model. Intents and entities. This is the food orderance one again. We have a Lewis model. We start training. As stated in the beginning of the article, every utterance comes down to an intent. The action you're trying to achieve. Navigate to intents. Add intent. Give it a name. Now typing utterances that will be used. In other words, write down a couple of simple sentences. Oh, okay, so it looks like it does work the way we want it to work. But how do we get it to do this? Have I just ended up completely broken? And hit enter. Set my time zone. Oh, it's done it now. Okay. Set time zone. Time zone. Okay, that wasn't exactly. Yeah, it just tell me to hit enter, doesn't it? I'm being a bit stupid, aren't I? So let's train that model. We better put time zone with a space in as well, I think. So we're okay now. So let's time zone, set time zone, set my time zone, reset time zone. And obviously the more sample utterances we put in here, the better this is going to be. But let's train that as well. So now we've actually figured out how to actually use the user interface because we actually read what it says on the screen. I've got a chance of this succeeding. So let's go back into our code. Okay, we'll stick with Chrome. No, we don't need to stick with Chrome. We'll get rid of that. Okay, so here we are. So we can add a new case now. So if the top intent is going to be set time zone, then we can go in here and we can set intent matched. It's true. And we can launch the set intent dialog, the set time zone dialog, and break. So it should now be able to actually, rather than pressing the button 4, we should be able to do this. So let's pop in a breakpoint at this point here. Oops, that's my code places. Go away, code places. Let's put a breakpoint in there. Run our bot and see what happens. So sorry about faffing around, guys. So I guess that's just one of those things. Okay, restart our conversation. We type in set my time zone. So that's not going to match 1, 2, 3 or 4. It's not. These buttons simply return the number 1, 2, 3 and 4, which is what we're recognising in our main bit of code. So we now hit here. We've got a 96 point whatever percent dB match, and looks like it's going to go into utilities help, which is not exactly what we expected at that point. Yeah, so it thought that was. So why has it thought that? So we're going to get help. Okay, well, let's go and have a look at our model. So these have got below the kind of percentage score here is 90. So let's change that to a 90% match in our code and see what happens when we do that. So it looks like we've got to keep an eye on this score. So back in our code, let's look for a match, which was, where's the match being set to? There it is. Oh, it's set to be. That's actually interesting. So that if we set that to 90, it's not actually going to help us, is it? Because it looks like utilities help matched above that. Interesting. It's almost as we want it to. Set time zone should. Set my time zone is not anything like any of those matches there, is it? Okay, this is fascinating. Review endpoint utterances. Looks like that's to do with matching up entities and intents. So here, set time zone should be a good match. Let's give it another go and see what happens. I'm a bit confused, as you probably can tell, but then this is what everyone's going to face if they try to do this themselves. Restart a conversation, set time zone. Should be an exact match to a phrase that we've actually put in. The intent matched is false, the score is 96%, and the top intent is utilities. The turn context, in the turn context, in the turn, the activity, and the text is set time zone. Why is it matching on that? Get top scoring intent. Does our blog say anything about this? So that's all about handling where there wasn't a good enough match. Why is... That's easy enough. That we've got that bit working, haven't we? Why is it matching? First steps we'll do is okay. Train and test. So it looks like there's a testing facility on Lewis here. So let's go to test. Set time zone. We haven't published the model, have we? Yeah, so set time zone. So I'm just going to take this off screen because I'm not quite sure what happens when I press publish. Actually, it's okay. I can show you that. So I've just clicked on publish. We just need to do that. So that's what it was. So we didn't publish our model. We've trained our model, but we haven't published it. So let's continue there. We'll restart a conversation, and now we'll type set time zone. So you live and learn, don't you? Here, the top intent is still utilities help. I wonder if it's not published yet. Let's just stop our bot running. Yes, it's published. So it hadn't published at the time, so we probably need to rerun our application. There we go. And restart. Now type set time zone. We should hit in here. Our top intent is now set time zone. So if we continue, we should. That's interesting that we've run into. Now that is interesting. We started, but then we finished. Let's try again. Set time zone. We hit here, which we can now remove that. Well, let's step through, see what happens. So what was our intent score? It was 95.5%, so we can raise that a bit more. We then begin our dialogue. And we come down here. Oh, okay, so that's why it says display menu there. Okay, so if we only need to do this if we didn't match the intent. So we can stop that. We can pull these two lines out, pop them inside when we don't match on an intent. Then we need to show the menu again, and now we should be good to go. Okay, so this is all about kind of getting used to a new thing, and I'm making all the mistakes here, so when you go and look at this you won't make the mistakes. Set time zone, we've hit there. Continue, we should get into our time zone dialog, and we select, I don't know, Turkmenistan, submit. There's only one option there, we submit that, and we set our time zone. So that's actually working quite nicely. Now we can do our streamer bit. And this is where it gets a little bit more interesting, I guess. We can try and get it to work with our entities. So this is where we ran into trouble last time, so we've probably got to be a bit patient. So we've got our intent. We want to create an entity, and this entity is going to be called streamer name. Let's make it streamer-name, shall we? It's a simple entity. And then we're going to go to intent, so we're going to create a new intent. This is going to be when next. We're going to type in when is C# Fritz streaming next. Enter. And so it looks like we can say that is our streamer name. Now it's working, isn't it? Streamer name. When is streamer name streaming next? Okay. And then we can say when is C# Fritz on next. And we say that is our streamer name. And then we can say when is C# Fritz broadcasting next. And we'll make that. So obviously the quality of our model is going to be based on how many good examples we put in. So when is C# Fritz. So we may be going overboard with the number of different similar phrases, but we'll see. So we need to figure out, oops, has that just gone away? No, here we are. Okay, so let's train the model. So this is going to require us to make a few little differences. New duck, quack, welcome. I've not seen you in chat before, so welcome to the stream. This is Codebase Alpha. We're looking at the Microsoft Bot Framework version 4. Brendonius, welcome. Feel free to lurk. That's great to see you. We're looking at the Microsoft Bot Framework version 4, and we're adding natural language processing to the bots. If New Duck, if you're not a follower, please hit that follow button, or follow me on Twitter to get information about streams. This stream started late, and so Twitter was the best way to keep people informed about the fact it was going to start late. I also have a Discord if you want to go over to Discord. That's what I do. Also put information there about the next stream and also alerts that I'm going to be late. Okay, so we've got that. Let's test our. So when is dev chatter on next? So it didn't manage. It matched that to none. So when is C# Fritz on next? It matched that to when next. So it looks like we're going to need to provide, because I had two words, dev chatter. It could be that when we go to our entities and streamer name, we need to give it. That's interesting, isn't it? So let's give the intent some two-word examples. When is Codebase Alpha streaming next? And we'll say, actually, no, you're wrong. That isn't. Remove that label. This is the label. Can we do that? Mapping composite entity. Mapping composite entity. What does that mean? This is going to be interesting. Let's get rid of that. That's utterance. When is dev chatter on? So this is a slightly different approach to the way it worked with. This is wanting it to be a single word. Can we say actually it's two words? Wrap in composite entity. Into a composite entity. We haven't got one. Over in entities here. Example utterances, roles. This should, maybe it's a list then, is it? So let's go over here. So they put in dollar food. Look into dollar food. Order a hamburger. So don't need to do that. Simply set the word as a variable in case hamburger and add it an entity. Lewis can now understand different kinds of foods. Don't forget to change. What if we've got more than one word? So they're using dollar, aren't they, there? I'd like to... Interesting. Let's try that. It's just clutching at straws. Over here, when next? Let's delete that. When is... Oops. When is... Then square brackets. Dollar. No, that's not done it. So what we need to be able to put multiple. So this works okay if we typed in just dev chat as one word, but we need to be able to put in spaces in there. It needs to detect it. So in here, we're saying it's a simple type. Add as a pattern. When is streamer name? Broadcasting next. We added as a pattern. Okay, well let's train our model and see if that did anything of any use. And we'll test. When is dev chatter? Oops. Test. When is dev chatter streaming next? And that got it this time. Okay. So it predicted it was a. Okay, so it got the it got the when next now. When is lucky number 7 on next? So it hasn't found that this time, has it? The top scoring intent was that one. So it should have been that one. Train. So it's slightly worrying me we're not matching to an entity though. It says no predicted entities and we need it to predict our entity. So what does our retraining through the API? Okay, well we might get some way into this. So let's test again. When is code base alpha streaming next? It got none. That was an 80%, but that actually was a when next. Trying that. But what we need to do is see if we can get it to see if that will work. When is code base alpha on broadcasting next? That's it. When next now. So if I type in when is no op cat on next, will it recognize 3 words now? That's once again we're having to train it with particular values, aren't we? I thought no cat there, but that's not what I wanted. So when is no op cat live next? So that got it, but it's a very low percentage. We want to say actually that was absolutely correct. Get yourself some confidence. Train that up. I'm not sure what this when is add as a pattern is actually doing for me. So maybe we need to dig into this a little bit more, but we might try to get some of it working. So I've just added a pattern more than once, haven't I? I don't know where the patterns are appearing. Oh, the patterns are down here. when is streamer broadcasting next? Delete that pattern. Train. Improve app performance. Okay, so select an intent. Let's go back to our entity. Let's delete those and then go to patterns, select an intent. So the pattern is going to be when is streamer name live next. Try training that and see if we get past this problem with the model. Okay, that's okay. So when is streamer name live next? We can only have one pattern. Is that what that's saying? Confused. I don't think we want to do these patterns by the look of it. Training the data. It is. Okay, well, let's get rid of these. When is, oops. So we'll just try typing these again and see if we can. Oops. That's streamer name. Search for create a role. Over here. That's a labeled utterance. Interesting. When is dev chatter live next? I wonder if simple type is what we want. I think it is. I think it is. It is a simple type. When is dev chatter broadcasting next? What we'll do is we'll just live with those three for the moment. We'll train the model. And what we'll do is we'll see if we can get it to actually recognise just those three phrases, those three sentences, and then we can build up from there. So let's go back into test. So when is dev chatter live? So we're not going to put the next on the end. When is dev chatter live? We'll put the next on there to begin with, see if it finds it. So it does, and that's a 95% match. When is dev chatter live? and that was an 80%. We expect that. Oh, and dev chatter's gone into the stream name now. That's good. So we can edit that and say that is definitely the correct intent and train it up. So we're going to get some confidence that we don't need the word next after it, and it's added that, as you can see. Look to the list, and then we could say when is dev chatter on. It's got a 90% possibility of that, and it's pulled dev chatter into the stream name. So this is much more what I expected to be seeing, which is good. So let's just give it some confidence that when next was the correct answer there. And we'll do one more. When is dev chatter broadcasting? It's got a 91%. Once again, we'll do the same. It's pulled the streamer's name out okay. Train that up again, and now we'll try just 2 words for the entity and see if it can work it out. When is dev chatter on next? Oops. Why isn't it? Oops. Why is it saying that? The pattern when is streamer name broadcasting next already exists. Oh, no. Thank you. Oh. Bad argument. The pattern when is streamer name broadcasting already exists. That's fair enough. I haven't asked you to add it, have I? Interesting. So if I was in Alexa now, I could go and have a look at the JSON that's been created. But so let's hit test again. When is dev? Oops. When is dev chatter on next? So that has matched none. It couldn't figure out what the entity was. We'll say the entity was actually when next. And I don't seem able to tell it what my... Let's train that. Is it going to throw up again because it thinks the broadcasting one's duplicated when I don't think it is? I can't see the model. That's if I could see the model, I could see where it thinks it's got duplicated, and I could hand update the model. But all I've got to see is what it's got on here. So I'm a bit confused, viewers. A bit confused. It's kind of it's all. Oh, there we are. We've managed to train that. So it's kind of like the Alexa skill kit, but it doesn't quite feel as advanced in a strange way. So that's now hit when next, but it hasn't managed to predict the entity, and I wonder why it hasn't. So when next, that's okay. Patterns, we haven't got any phrase lists. I don't know what phrase lists are yet. Review endpoint utterances. Doesn't seem to want to show me anything. Let's hide test away. Load more. No suggestions. Entities. We've got these. So that's got dev chatter in it, you see. So let's do a test again. When is no op cat? on next. So that's a no upket on. Okay, so it looks like it's handling single words. But let's kind of take it forward with single words. Let's publish that model, and we'll try and figure out why it's not accepting more than one word. Now, in Alexa, you have to give the slots examples with as many words as they can encompass, and that's what I kind of expected to be able to do here. But I'm not really seeing the ability to set some example values. These are labelled utterances, but they don't seem to be able me to say, oh, here's a number of different words that can appear, and you need to kind of, it might be in phrase lists, I suppose. But let's publish now. Let's go back into our code. I will keep that there. So now we've got when next as an option. And what we're going to do initially is just put when next in here. Obviously this is all got to be broken out into its own code, and it's the when next intent that we want to start. But there's a cool thing about these intents, in that in between the ID and the cancellation token, we can actually insert a third option, a third parameter, and that's going to be the entity that it pulls out. But we need to find out what the entity is. So I'm hoping that if we kind of examine these results up here, we'll be able to find that out. So I'll show you what I mean. So there's our bot ready. Let's restart our conversation. So when is dev chat, and I'll use all one word for now. On next. So we hit here. So the string intent is when next. It's got that correct. The score is huge, so we're very, very confident. The top intent, recognize the results. So we've got some entities here, and entities has values, which is interesting, so we need to look at that. We've got two child tokens. Okay, the last and the next. So that it's come back with some JSON, hasn't it? Streamer name dev chatter as in a list. Okay, so there's some kind of confidence thing here, where it starts in the phrase that was entered and where it ends, and then the text. Child tokens is that one there. Okay. So let's see what we can do with that. So what we can do is say that if recognize a result dot entities dot has values, then we're going to pull out the streamer name. So we say var streamer name equals string .mt, and then we'll say if it has values, then recognize a result dot entities dot last, and we'll say and we'll go and pull some information out of, I'll go and pull some code out of somewhere else. So over in the choose time zone dialog, there if we go over here, we just do a deep JSON convert on that, don't we? Okay, so we should be able to use the same try JSON parse. We'll just grab that bit of code there. Pop over to our chatbot. So this is where we can see that we need to be a bit smarter about all this code, but we ain't going to worry about it for now. The result's going to be that add at last. So that should be a string. It's actually come back as a J token, which is really helpful to us, isn't it? So we don't need to try and parse it all like that. We can get rid of that. And we can get rid of that. And we can simply say that let me do that. Okay, we can say that if entity contains key of streamer name, then streamer name is going to be equal to entity streamer name to string. Okay, so contains key, so it looks like a J token doesn't have that. So what have we got on a J token? Got contains, we haven't got contains key. We've got to make sure that we get the right thing here. So I wonder if we can cast this as a J object and then use what contains key. Looks like we can. So we'll just say as J object like that. So if entity not equal to null and the entity contains that key, then we pull the streamer's name out of it. So we're not out of the woodwork yet, so let's try that again, make sure we can get the streamer's name pulled out. Okay, reset a conversation. When is DevChatter live? Here the streamer name is empty. So what have we got in here? So that's got values. It looks like we couldn't. Oh, it's an array, isn't it? There, it looks an array. So we pulled out that, and we want the first element of that. First thing in the array. So it could come back as a list, I guess. That's what they're saying. So let's go back here. Come on. No, okay, let's stop. But we want, because it's a streamer name, it's going to be the first thing in there. There's only one streamer name. I guess the other ones are kind of matches it could have found. So Restart conversation. When is dev chatter on? Here, streamer name is still null. Okay. I'm going to put my breakpoint. Oops, go away code places. I'm going to put my breakpoint. Yeah. You see that it's actually found completely wrong. So we'll just like stop at that point, and we should bomb out, and then I can say when is dev chatter live. So let's make sure we got the right intent first. So it looks like we're going to be okay this time. Step into here. We're going to go into there. Entity is null, so we couldn't cast it as an JObject. Okay. So let's instead not cast it, and then we're going to run into the problem that contains key is not a valid thing. So let's say if it's not null, let's see what that does, and then we'll put the proper code in. I want to see if we can pull out the right text. Restart. When is dev chatter on? So what's our result? We hit. Okay, so we're going to here, into here, into here. Until it's no longer null. Streamer name. What was streamer name? Looks like something went wrong. So we've actually thrown an exception here because this is obviously rubbish. Okay, this is my ignorance of JToken, isn't it? Because I've been working with JObjects. So let's go and have a look at JTokens and see what we can do with them. Oops. So this is so basically these are all the methods that we saw, weren't they, on that thing. So it was a JToken that was living in there, so that's good. What's going on? Access all lies with the JToken. So it's JToken pass. JSON like that. So you can cast your JToken to an object and then use it. Okay, that's what we wanted to do. So we've got a... Oh, okay. So they've got something called outer. And they're just pulling the dress map out. So let's grab that piece of code and go back over here. Entity is going to be equal to so let's give this a go. We need to put some defensive programming in against this, but that's okay. So we're going to just step through and see what happens. Which is my ignorance of the of Newtonsoft, really. Still, we can't know everything. When is Jeff Tatter on next? Okay, so we're in here. We've got values, and we throw at that stage. So this is actually, you can't do that. I wonder if we can just get the value of the whole thing. Is that going to be a valid thing to want to do? Not value. And get the value as a J object. Try again. So this is kind of real world programming, isn't it? You're trying to do something which you're not quite sure how to do. When is dev chatter on next? Okay. And we've thrown again, so this advice to use this doesn't seem to be what we need to use. So let's go and have a look at somebody else's answers. So this is suggesting doing a deserialize object. Okay. Your JSON. Simply that's text or not, doesn't it? Okay. Let's give it a go. We'll give it a go. We'll try anything once. And that's the J token that's living in there. It seems a bit of a faff, to be honest with you. Maybe it's simply rubbish. Okay, that's not JSON, is it? It's not a string. It wants a string in there. Let's give it a go. Seems like if you've already got a J token, then converting into an object, J object, seems to be a really weird thing to have to do. I'm sure there's better ways of doing that, and I shall have to investigate that. What did we have before? And entity dot contains key. streamer name. Well, let's see what happens. Restart the conversation. When is dev chatter next? Okay. Bam. All's over. We're not getting anywhere here, are we? Okay. We've got a J token. We know we've got a J token at this stage. So if I say our entity is equal to that, and the entity is not null, how then do I pull something out of my J token? So let's, I'm sure that's going to drive me nuts. Okay, there we are. Let's pop a breakpoint there. Run it up again and see what we've got, what properties we've got on the entity. When is dev chatter on next? So let's just step through. Okay, we've got here, we've got an entity and it's got a name, streamer name, and it's got a value. It's got a value which is that. And that's another J token at that point, is it? So what can we do with the J token at that point? We can convert it to a string. Path is streamer name. Ours is the name. The type is a property. Oh, it's a JSON property. Okay. So can we say JSON.value. So what's this? What's that? Entity.value is not valid. So it's a no, we can't just use link. What is that value? That's another J token. So working with the J token, I want to work with the J object. This is the problem. J object seems a better. Tried making the proper types for the J. I could do that, but the problem is it would mean types. I just want to cast it as an object, a J object. So but it's a J token. It just seems a bit of a faff to do all this. So this was text. Will it cast it? Let's see what we get out of that. I'm just struggling with the fact it's a J token. I've not really used J tokens, I only ever used J objects. So I just want to kind of get us into a position where we can actually progress. Because I'm getting stuck in something I'm not really interested in doing, which is figuring out how to do this. So that is now it's not really a piece of JSON, is it? Just a string. I need to understand how to work with JSON J tokens, don't I? So C# working with J token. Yeah, he created special objects for each of the JSON strings. Yeah, I think we may have to do that. Coded Beard. I just don't particularly want to go there at the moment, if I can help it. Converting a J token to a given type. With a toObject method. Object is a JSON object. It doesn't really give any context. J token toString. DC is like to a target type. So we try that. I don't like it though. Seems such a faff to have to do all this. Okay. We want that. I think Coded Beard, you're absolutely right. What we're going to have to do is to make this kind of strongly typed, aren't we? But I'm just trying to get past target type. I can't just put JObject in there, can I? It wants to be a type, so entity. This is rubbish. I don't understand any of this. No, I don't think that's the right thing to do. Okay, let's have a look what else we got. Okay, let's do it. So let's add a new folder. We'll call it classes. And we're going to add a new class. This is going to be streamer. This is going to have what's the best way of doing it? Public string key. I hate hitting problems like this, which is actually nothing to do with what I want to achieve. If that had only been a string, would have been well away. Okay, so let's have a look. If we got values in there, I want to do the opposite of that. Why is a J token difficult to work with? Maybe it isn't, I'm just not understanding. Get value from a J token that may exist. So they're just using accessor, aren't they? No. So we're saying the entity is that. So that's a J token. If it's not null, entity streamer name. Okay. Let's see how far we get with that. So entity contains an array of strings. X to an exception. So how do you pull a value out of a token? Get value. Well, they've created an extension method called get value. So they're using JToken width, but that throws if I try to do that. This is your working day every day, yeah. I'm starting to sympathise. It's just got the type which I'm not used to working with. Convert JToken to JObject. Because if I do that, we can work with it. Getting the name key of a JToken with JSON.NET. Spelling things would be with it. Convert. How to convert a J token. I feel dumb, viewers. I feel dumb that I can't get past a simple thing. All I want to do is get what the value. Dev chat is sitting there in that object, and I can't pull it out, and I'm struggling to figure out any help at all. J token pass. J token T1 is pass at the top level. J token pass there. That gives us an array. Okay. But I haven't got that. I've got a J token. Look at that. I don't know what that has got to do with that. It doesn't even mention J token. I hate this situation. On stream, the kind of if I wasn't actually live on stream, I think I'd just kind of walk away for a bit and just have a think about it. But here I've got a J token. So let's stop and start it again. I've got to be able to sort this out. Surely. How hard can it be? As someone famous once said. So when is DevChatter live? That's the hard. That's the bit we wanted to do. Just to get it to actually pull the streamer's name out is. So we've got an entity which is an object of streamer name and an array. So why can't I access it by key? Like you can with a J object. Anyone got any ideas? I'm struggling. It's just a load of strings. True. So can we just treat it as if it was a string if we do a 2-string on it? I'll go over here. I can try pass it as a J object, can't I? So over here, I do that. I'm sure we tried this, but let's let's give it one more go. Hi, Michael Jolly. Welcome. You find me in struggling mode, to be perfectly honest with you. Find me struggling with JSON. I'm just not used to working with JTokens, and as a result, so this is going to come back with an array. Well, we're here. So X will be some kind of array. It's a JToken. It's going to be pulled out. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Because it's an array, it's not actually. So but I want the first element in that array. Well, we've been here before. And that's going to be a string, but that's never going to work in the month of Sundays, is it? So let's hit the breakpoint here. Try again. It just seems such stupid code to have to write. So when is dev chatter on next? The entity now is, as you say, it's a string, and it couldn't parse it as JSON because it hasn't got the curly braces around it. Oh god, yeah. So it's just a string. It's only part of the JSON body, yes. It's the JToken part, isn't it? It's not the whole thing. Okay. So why can't we work with a JToken? What is wrong with JTokens that we can't ever do anything with them? JToken from object. JToken methods. So JToken, the value should contain. So Let's just stop there. Let's get rid of all of that. Run it again. This is very embarrassing. Okay. So this last dot value. The last dot value will be a J token, presumably. No, can't seem to have to move it on. So what's complaining here? So cannot I say this is we need to give it a type. Okay, it's the J token with a specified key. What's that going to be? I bet it falls over again. When is Jeff Touch run next? Okay. So what's entity going to be? Through an exception. Invalid operation. Jens Duck, thank you for joining. Yes, I did follow your stream, so Jens Duck, thank you very much for coming back. Yeah, it's programming. That's my streams are programming, but I'm not actually getting very far at the moment. I'm stuck on this. What I've got here, and I don't know if you've done any work with JSON, but this recognize the result entity last is a J token, and I also want to get the values of the J token. And I'm just everything I try just seems to be getting me nowhere, and I can't find any help in the usual places. Gets the J token with a specified key converted to the specific type. Turns a collection of child values of this token in document order. I'm just struggling. So what's that going to give me, I wonder? This is going to give me a list of strings according to that, but we'll see. More likely to just crash. So yes, you've joined at a very embarrassing time. I've been struggling with this for quite a long time, and it's just because I'm working with an unfamiliar type. And I just don't seem to be able to get the value I want out of it. Okay, so what have I got here then? If I step over that, I've got nothing of any use. Okay, it cannot cast an array to the Newtonsoft. It's just an exception, isn't it? I wish I could go back. Let's try again. Could do with time. It just falls over. So what's that going to give me? That's going to just give me a J object, look. Okay, it's giving me a J object. Which is what I've been after all this time. You mostly PHP and MySQL, Jinsduck. Yeah. It's a shame that let's pop a I'm afraid code places is okay, so we've got that. Let's see what happens. Let's see what we've got when we don't do the last bit. Let's see what that J object looks like. We seem to have been going around in circles to suddenly get a J object. When is DevChatter live? So in entity we have a whole bunch of stuff. So it does a lot .json though. Let's take that as a win. So then we'll say that where's my code that I used? It's over in choose dialog. Choose this. So we'll say grab that. I think we're not out of the woods though, because I think the problem is they're not simple types inside here. If entity I just that's just ridiculous, isn't it? We've already got a JObject. It's called entities. It's called entities. So we don't need to do any of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to run it up again, and I'm going to do what Cody Beard suggested. I think way in the past. So we're going to say, when is Dev Chatter live? To there. We're just going to do old so there's two entities. We want the last entity. We don't know how many entities there. We want the last one, don't we? Which is what that last did. If we dot last is what we want to use, and then that gives us I'm losing the will to live. Okay, when is Dev Chatter live? So this is a piece of JSON. It's got all that stuff I'm not interested in. So I want streamer name out of that, don't I? I haven't got it in there. That's just in chat2 window. It's not what I was after, is it? I'm just showing my ignorance of JSON, aren't I, really? Okay. That's giving me a J token again, isn't it? Why can't I work with J tokens? Copy the whole response and just paste a special. Be able to create the class for me. Okay, let's do that then. not a valid JSON instance. Right, so what's XML? So let's go back. Come on, the value. Edit value. Control C. No, he only wants to do XML. Okay. Then just deserialize it into that class streamer. This is it's not exactly what I want to do, but okay, let's go with it, and we'll tidy it up later. So why does it want a string? I'm using the wrong syntax, am I? Cody Bird, any advice on this? It doesn't want to do this as a... says he wants a string there. Cannot convert. The API is returning a JObject at the entities level. Yeah. Just two object then. Let's try that. Yeah. Well, let's give this a go. So I feel like I've been typing this forever. Okay, now we've got a streamer object, which is what you suggested in the first place. I don't seem to have any. Okay, what's streamer dot, what have I got on it? Nothing. I would have thought I should have instance, wouldn't you? It's root object. Okay, let's call it streamer and lose all this. Type those words again. FChat's getting a lot of advertising on this. Yeah, so we got then null. But clearly they're not null, are they? Everything's null. Yeah. Nick Larson, waiting with a party of 13. Welcome, guys. Good to see you. You find me in an embarrassing stream. This is one of those streams where nothing. The thing I'm trying to do is working fine. All I'm trying to do is get the streamer's name as the JSON object, and it's just defeating me at every turn. I just don't seem to be able to get this to work. We've got what we've got here. We've come into this. We've got this result from LUIS, which is the natural language processing system. We've got a value here. This value has got all this JSON in it. Okay. It's got this object in it. These are what we're trying to do is then deserialize that or convert that into a streamer object. But when I do that, those properties on the streamer are null. And we've tried to do all kinds of things with JTokens and stuff like that, and it's just defeating me every turn. Rumbling Geek, maybe you can help as well. JSON issues. I don't understand how to resolve this problem. I haven't got a project command. We're back on the AI chatbot. What we're doing is we're trying to have it so you can type in text rather than use the menus. Ryan Jones, Cubs lover, welcome. I'm well, thank you. Well, I'm not that well actually. I'm struggling, to be honest, Ryan. Struggling. It's one of those streams where I'm I don't have any ideas, and it's frustrating to me. Thank you for the follow. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's coding. This is real life. It's such a minor thing. It's such a minor thing we're trying to do. Just get a name. So Lewis has come back with what they call an entity. It's in a piece of JSON for some reason. So this doesn't work. $200 lines. This is just like one line of code that's taken forever so far. I've got to finish very soon. I think what we're going to do, I'm going to just, we've got stuck on this such a long time. I'm going to comment that out. Yeah, this isn't a college project. It will be in GitHub Rambling Geek. So let's restart a conversation. So what the chatbot does, you've got 4 options. Currently, option 2 and option 4 are the ones that work. So if I type in set my time zone, so I don't bother pressing the buttons. I think I'm going to type in. Then correctly it goes off and asks for its time zone. So we'll say United States, and we'll say Chicago time. Okay. Now it's got my time zone. What I can do then is I can type 2 and I can give the name of a streamer. But the idea was we could type in when is dev chatter on next in text rather than when is dev chatter on next. And now it's asking for the name of the streamer, but the idea is we should be able to extract the word dev chatter from there, and then so it doesn't bother asking us. If I put dev chatter in here, you see it'll come up with a nice typing indicator while it goes off to our API and figures out when they're on next. That API has probably gone to sleep now, but there he is. It's come up with the nice adaptive card with dev chatter's thing on. So the kind of object of the exercise, which is to get the natural language bit working, is working. It's a matter of extracting the name dev chatter out of that string. And what's supposed to happen is if I run this again, if we pop in a breakpoint into here, if I say when is dev chatter on, okay, in the recognizer results I've got these entities, and the entities are basically variables. I can't extract the name willy-nilly though, Rambling Geek, because I don't know where it's going to be in the string. At the moment, it's only coming with one word as being the thing we want, and we want to actually be able to get more than one word. But you can see here we've got streamer name, which is the name of our entity, and we've got dev chatter in here as text. It's in this entities thing. And if I go down to here, entities.last has this in it. But this is a J token. And you can see it's streamer name, and then it's got an array of strings. But for the life of me, I can't seem to get anything out of a J token. Once it's a J token, it seems to be completely impenetrable. All I want is what is the value. This is the key, and that's the value. But a J token doesn't seem to be that simple. If we go and look at the JSON documentation for J token, well, there isn't an awful lot to say. The J token is a piece of JSON, and I really need someone who knows a bit more about this. Serializing. Okay. I just need some code to look at. C#. Get values from JToken. We've been down this route already, so I've got some IntelliSense, but it's not really that helpful in that the JToken doesn't seem to be that malleable to me get anything out of it. Every time I come to these things, they start off talking. So what's this going to say? Convert what's in a dictionary. Got children. Select. So that is a JToken, is it? Okay. Okay, we'll give that a go, Nick Larson. That's a good idea. Oops, I don't know why I've gone there. I was just trying to do something with that. I don't know what's going on with my chat. We seem to be. My chat seems to have gone a bit funny. Anyway, let's see what happens. Sorry guys, I'm getting a bit flustered here because, as I say, this isn't what I was wanting to work on. I was trying to click on this. There we go. Identifying that property is an array. But these are working with a JObject, that's the problem, and I haven't got a JObject. I've got here. Property.value. So what's property? There's your watch window, Liv. I'm just getting I'm getting flustered, to be honest, guys. Remind me where the watch window is on the menu bar for window. Sorry, yeah, there we are. No, I can't see it there. Solutions for blah 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 blah. Object browser outputs. Task list. property window, other windows, command, view other. Still can't see it, unless it's just evading me. Okay, so if we look here, we've got recognize the result. Entities, last has got the simplest structure they want. Entities last, dot last. There's dev chatter there, look. So if it's got values, dot last, dot last. So dot last, dot children. So that's an I numeral, that's a J numeral of token. And I want first. What's that giving me? A J token of streamer, and I want dot toString. This is just so fragile though. We'll see if we can get anything out of it by doing this. Okay. I think things have moved around in 2019. I'm not sure. I do find it difficult to find some stuff that I knew where it was. What when is dev chatter? So we're not at, even when we get this working, it's not going to be complete because we want to be able to get multiple words. So some people's streams, like mine, is Codebase Alpha, debug Windows. There we go. Thank you, Nick Larson. So that's now dev chatter with square brackets around it, etc. Okay, so we're getting somewhere, aren't we? We've got at least that string. So first would be a J token, wouldn't it? So this is going to be, once again, it's going to be a, and what do we get inside that? Okay, let's give it a go. I think it's going to fall over on values because we've tried values before, but we'll persevere. So now this is it's a dev chatter. Okay. So we're going to need to put a lot of defensive programming around this because we're assuming it's going to be there. So it's value string, and that was an enumerable, so we want first of all that's just horrible. But at this stage, I'll just take anything, and we'll just tidy it. This is one of the we're going to be on again tomorrow, I think. Because code smells, you know, just don't like them. This smelly code. What's in there? There's dev chatter. So we got dev chatter out of it. Okay, so we're at least I'd probably able to kind of finish this off at least with this smelly code and sort it out again at some other point. Okay, so they're in here. So this is completely rubbish code at this point because we're assuming that if we get anything in there, it's going to be a streamer's name, but it could be something else. Oh, so what you mean? To use, yeah. To array, yeah. Yeah, Nick, to be honest, I think it's time just to try and get this next bit working, and then so what I can do, if you go back up here to this menu option, you can see when we hit number 2, which is when is my favourite streamer streaming next, we call begin dialog async, and we pass in the intent we're using, which is when next, and the cancellation token. But in fact, there's actually another value we can send in, which is an option. It's an object type. In this case, we're passing in a string, and we should be able to pick this up in our when next dialog. So if I go over to our when next dialog, we've got so many other things. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Don't need that. Okay, let's go over to our when next dialog now, which is it's all hidden away over here. When next dialog. When we come into here, we should be able to pick up that option value. So, ooh. So step context dot options. So let's see if we can get. Obviously, this is not. It's not production ready code or by any stretch of imagination. But let's see if we can get the streamer name to appear in that position. We're going to need to put some defensive stuff around it. But it may work if we can get it to appear in there. Then we're almost at the place where we need to be. Thank you very much, Nick. It's been an interesting project to work with. And I've learned an awful lot about refactoring, because I love refactoring. It's one of my favourite things to do, and it was very interesting to come up with a not really nice refactoring last time, which it brings the kind of concept of beauty into code. It's a beautiful refactoring, and it's simplified things tremendously. And it was one of the most satisfying that I've done in a long time. The streaming on hasn't come through in that case, has it? Let's have a look what we're doing. This should still work. Okay, so let's go back to our chatbot, and this requires major surgery to get some of this spaghetti code into the right position, but we're just still playing around at the moment. So streamer name. Okay, that's right. There we go. We'll get there eventually. I'm way over the time I should be. Way over. But Rambling Geek knows me. Find it very hard to leave things. And there's Dev Chat has appeared in there, which is where we wanted it. Okay, let's get that line out. Go down to the bit where we ask for the streamer's name. So, if just grab that in there, get streamer name from there. Oh, that's, what's wrong with that? Oh, okay, it's just down here. If streamer oh, I see. We need to expand that. No. Okay, blah blah blah. To get that tidy up. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to say here, if the streamer's name, if the streamer name that came in wasn't null. Oh, not you're on 1903. I've been waiting for that to come through, Rambling Geek. I haven't got it through yet, so that's interesting that you've got that. Did it come through on the normal Windows updates? Because I've been keeping an eye out for it, and it hasn't come through. So we're going to we get the user state. We're going to set that, and then we're going to save the user state. And saving the user state is there. No, not that. where am I going to go? There. Over here, and then we're going to save the user state there, and then we're going to say I'm gonna have to stop very shortly. In fact, I'm going to call a halt at this stage. I've gone way past where I meant to be, so I'm very sorry. I'm gonna stop at this point. I'm gonna just finish this bit of code off stream, and I'll catch up with you another time. So let's find someone to raid, because it's really getting very late here. And I just need to get something to eat. So let's go to let's close all this down. It's very unsatisfying, but I've just got so out of time. So let's go and find someone to raid. Let's go and raid Instafluff, shall we? Okay, so guys, thanks for sticking out with me for all this time. I didn't get very far, but I've just run out of time ages ago, to be honest, and it's only my stubbornness that's kept us going. So I'll take you over to Instafluff now, and we'll catch you again later. Take care.